Hi, welcome to Roy's Game Table. Today we have another game from Return to Gravehold. This time it's the Burrower versus Cairna and Ohat and Ulgimor. So pull up a chair and let's see what happens. This is the market that I'll be using for this playthrough, and this is the Return to Gravehold expansion that I'm going through today. And the Glass-Eyed Oracle, Memory Break, and Cleanse are all three from the Return to Gravehold expansion. The other cards are not from the expansion, but I'm just using them in the game today. So if you want to pause the video to read the cards, go ahead and do that now. One of the mages we're playing with today comes from the Return to Gravehold expansion. Her name is Cairna, and she has a special rule that Cairna's ability can be used when she has 3 or more charges. And when she uses her ability, she loses 3 charges. So she's always got to lose 3 when she uses her ability, but she only has to lose 3 to use her ability. So let's look and see what that is. It's called Energize, and so if she only uses 3 of her charges and spends them, she can gain a spell that costs 5 or less from a supply pile. That's if you just lose the 3 charges. Or, as it goes on to say, you may lose 2 charges to gain any spell from a supply pile instead. So, if she has 3 charges, she can lose those to get the 5 and gain the 5 cost spell or less. But if she has 5 charges, she has to spend the 3 so she can get 5 or less, but then she can spend 2 to actually get a spell. Well, it says you may lose 2 charges to gain any spell from a supply pile. So she could get a 6 cost, a 7 cost, 8 cost spell if it's in the market by spending 5 charges in that case. 3 because she has to lose 3, and then 2 more to get a spell from any supply pile. And then also, if she has 4 charges, then she can spend her required 3 to get a spell of 5 or less, and then she can lose 1 charge to prep a spell in your discard pile to one of your opened breaches. So you can gain a spell, a 5 cost spell with the 3 charges, and then spend that 4th charge, the 1 charge. Spend that 4th charge to either prep the spell that you just gained from your ability, or it can be another spell. It doesn't have to be the one you gained, but if you have 4 charges, you can spend 3 to get the 5 or less spell, and then spend that other one to prep it. If she's fully charged with all 6 charges, you can spend the 3 like you're supposed to, and then spend the other 3, so basically spend all 6 to get any spell that you want, and then you can prep that spell or prep another spell from the discard pile. So she has a lot of options that she can use with her Energize ability. And then the other mage you're going to use in today's game also comes from Return to Gravehold, and he was in an earlier expansion. I think it was the Aeon's End War Eternal. Ohat was, and Ulgimor. And in this game, he also has some special rules, and I'm just going to explain them to you instead of read them off. First of all, you see this token, and this is pretty important because if he has, as long as he has 5 or more life, he's in Ohat mode, and that affects how he works. It affects his starter card. As you can see here, if he's in Ohat mode, you cast, suffer 1 damage, and gain 2 Aether. But if he's in Ulgimor mode, he will cast and deal 3 damage. So depending on which mode he's in, it does something different. Also, his ability, if he's in Ohat mode, he suffers 2 damage, and any ally draws 5 cards and discards 2 cards in hand. But if he's in Ulgimor mode, you cast a spell prep to Ulgimor's 4 breach without discarding it. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But as I said, if he has 5 or more life, he's in Ohat mode. If he ever drops to 4 or less, he'll go to Ulgimor, and as you saw, it does something different depending on which mode he's in. Now, the other thing that's unique about him is he has a 4 breach that's unique. And when you cast out of it, you get +1 life on cast. So if he's in Ulgimor mode and you use your ability, you can cast the spell from Breach 4 without having to discard it. You get the benefit from the spell plus the +1 life on cast to heal him back up. So that's how that one can work. And anytime you cast a spell, it doesn't have to be with his ability, but anytime he would get that +1 life on cast. And then another thing to note about Ohat and Ulgimor is that he cannot be exhausted. So when he hits 0, he does not do any of the on-exhaust effects according to the rules for his card. So that's Ohat and Ulgimor and how he works and if you play with him. Here are the setup rules for the Burrower. If you'd like to read through those, go ahead and pause it now. Here are the additional rules and the Unleash effect for the Burrower. Go ahead and pause the video so you can read those if you'd like. The Burrower comes with a deck of trap cards, as you see here, and they come as either a landslide trap, which is what you're looking at, obviously. If this was revealed during the Nemesis's turn, Gravehold suffers 5 damage, and then it could also be a pit trap, and that is, if this was revealed during the Nemesis's turn, any player suffers 4 damage. Now, how you set these up, you actually have to set these up at the beginning of the game, and what you do is you start by putting one of the cards, you shuffle the whole deck, and you put one card face down. And with the Burrow picture on the top, it looks like that means it's face down. So you put one on the table, and you do this for all 9 supply piles that are in the supply. And I'm just going to show you one supply pile. So let's say I'm going to do this for the Glassite Oracle Relic. As you probably know, you may not, but relics have 5 copies of the same card. So there's 5 relics, 5 Glassite Oracles here. So you got this down first. Then you put 2 relic cards, Glassite Oracles, on top of that. Then you put another trap face down on top of that. Then 2 more relics on top of that. And then you put a trap. And then because I only have 1 card left, this will go on the top and that's going to finish the pile. So you do it like that, and that's how it'll look. And so the pattern that repeats, if you noticed, is that you have a trap, 2 cards, and then you put another trap, 2 cards, a trap, and then if there's just one of these cards left, which there is, as I said, that goes on top, and that completes the stack. And like I said earlier, you would do that for each one of the 9 supplies in the in the market that you're going to have. Okay, so we've got everything set up and ready to go. The Burrower has 80 life in this game, so we have to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and start the game. The first turn of the first round will go to the Nemesis, the Burrower himself. So he has no start of turn effects. The card will be a Moonstruck Hound. All right, and that's just a regular basic card and reduced to 1 all damage dealt to this minion by spells that cost 5 or more. And his persistent effect is that Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So we're definitely going to deal with him. But we're on to the second turn, which is going to be the Nemesis as well. So Gravehold's going to suffer 2 damage right away, down from 30 to 28. And the card will be Noxious Winds, a basic card as well. It has a power 2, and Gravehold suffers 3 damage. Any player gains a Cursed Shard from the Cursed deck. Any player gains a Cursed Bolt from the Cursed deck. Okay, and I can get rid of that by spending 5 Aether if I want to. And I may end up doing that because the mages have the rest of the turns. I know that because the Nemesis has already gone. The next turn will be Cairna. All right, so I'm going to prep her Invigorate spell. I have 4 crystals that I can spend. And let's see. I think I want to have her, since this Moonstruck Hound comes out, does 2 damage each time to Gravehold. And Invigorate, one of the things it can do is return a spell to my hand when I cast it. I'm going to go ahead and buy a Cleanse for her. And so we have the top card is a pit card. And when that happens on a player turn, you discard it. It doesn't say where to discard it to, so I guess I'll just start its own discard pile. I'll put it right here, I guess. So we've discarded that, and that's going to be it for her turn. So I'll draw her back up to 5, which is her normal 5 hand. And the next turn will be Ohat and Ulgimor. All right, so he has a shower of coals, and we're going to prep that up here. He also has 4 crystals, but for him, I think I'll have him get a petrified phoenicium. So he'll gain this to his hand, and then we have a trap that's at the top. And again, if the trap is at the top during a player turn, it says when a face down trap card is the top card of a supply pile during a player turn, you discard it. Okay, so that's going to get discarded. And if you remember from setup, there is going to be 2 petrified phoeniciums on top of another trap. And let's see, we took a cleanse, so the same thing. There's 2 cleanses here before we get another trap. And that's something to remember, because if the trap is ever revealed, if a trap is ever at the top during the nemesis turn, you reveal and resolve it. And as you can see, a pit trap does, if this was revealed during the nemesis turn, any player suffers 4 damage, and the landslide, Gravehold, would suffer 5 damage. So we want to try to make sure that those traps don't get revealed on the nemesis turn. But that is going to be Ohat and Ulgimor's turn. So he'll draw back up to 5, and then the next turn will be one of the mages, Cairna. All right, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast her Invigorate spell, but I'm going to return a spell to my discard pile to my hand, which is going to be Cleanse. So let me get that out. Okay, and then I will prep her Cleanse right here. And so it'll be ready to go when she gets another turn. And then I've got 3 crystals. I'm going to spend 2 of them to open her Breach 2. And that will allow me to prep her one of her sparks. And then I'll just spend this crystal. Well, actually, I think I'll hold on to this crystal. I have to hold on to this spark because you can't just discard. So I'm going to hold on to these, discard the 2 crystals that I spent, and draw back up to 5, which will be just 3 cards. All right, she's going to have 4 crystals and a spark in her next turn. But she'll have to wait till the next round because we got one more turn in this round, and it is going to be Ohat and Ulgimor. And first thing I'm going to do is cast his Shower of Coals. It is suffer 1 damage and gain 2 Aether. So I'm going to do that. He'll suffer damage down to 9. I've got 2. And then 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to spend that 5 Aether. I hate to do it this early, but I don't want this to go off. I don't want Gravehold suffer any more damage than it needs to. So I'm going to spend that 5 Aether to get rid of this Noxious Winds power card. And prep one of his sparks. And again, I have to hold on to this spark because I have nothing to do with it. So he'll hold on to that, discard his crystals, and I'll draw 4 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's going to be it for the round. I'll shuffle up the turn order deck and start a new round. Okay, the first turn of the new round is going to be Cairna. Good, so she can start doing some damage to this Moonstruck Hound. And I will. I'm going to cast the Cleanse for 3 damage. She doesn't have 3 or less life, so she can't heal. She's at full health anyway, but that's 3. The Spark is going to be 4, so it's going to drop this. Well, let's see. Reduce to 1 all damage dealt to this minion by spells that cost 5 or more, okay? And the Cleanse only costs 4, so I can do the full 4 damage to drop it down to 1. And then I will prep a spark. She has 4 crystals, so I can buy something. I could buy this, but I want to be careful because if he unleashes, if I buy this Petrified Phoenicium and then he unleashes and destroys this for some reason, it'll reveal a pit. But I think I do want to get a gem. And I can just actually unleash says I can destroy a card from any supply pile. So I think I will get a Petrified Phoenicium for her too. And to start getting her some buying power, and that's going to be it. So we'll draw, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Flip her deck to get 1 more card. And that's going to be it for her turn. Next turn is going to be her again. Good, so I'll cast this Spark, and that will take care of this Moonstruck Hound. He won't do any more damage to Gravehold. And I have 1, 2, we'll have an Invigorate and a Cleanse. So it came right back around. So I'll prep the Cleanse and the Invigorate, and I've got 3 crystals. So I think I'm going to use these 3 to buy a Molten Peridot. And by doing that, we reveal this pit trap or a landside trap, so it'll just discard. So that's going to be it for her turn. And we'll draw her back to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So she doesn't go through her deck just yet. Okay. And the next turn will be the nemesis, he finally gets to go, and that's good. I got plenty of turns to get rid of what was here. So his card will be an unstable ground, and there's nothing I can do to get rid of this. It does not have a 2 discard effect, but it does say destroy the top card from the least expensive gem supply pile. Destroy the top card from the least expensive relic supply pile. So I got to keep that in mind because I have taken a gem that would be the Molten Peridot, but right now there is 2 of those, so I don't want to buy any more of those right now because I don't want a pit trap to be, or a trap to be revealed. So I got to keep that in mind. And then the least expensive relic, it does have both of, well, it's this one, and it does have a trap under it, so I may want to buy that to get that out of the way. So that's something to keep in mind. And so we will move to the next turn, and it's the nemesis. All right, remove a token, and the card will be Collapsing Earth. Destroy the top card of a gem supply pile. All right, well, that's going to mess me up because I guess I'll just destroy it from the Molten Peridot. So that we don't reveal a pit trap, because if I destroy this one, I would reveal a trap. If I destroy this one, I'd reveal a trap. So we'll destroy the Peridot. And then any player discards 2 cards in hand. Let's see. She can get 2, 3, 4, 5. She can get 5 Aether. And he can do the same thing. So he needs to buy some stuff. I guess I'll just have her discard 2 cards. I'll have her discard a spark and a crystal, I guess. We've switched those around so that the crystal comes first. I still want to buy, I think. And then a different player discards a prepped spell. Well, that's going to be Ohat and Ulgimor. He's going to have to. All right. Well, that's all for that, though. The attack card is done. And we are to the next turn. It is going to be Ohat and Ulgimor. Doesn't have anything to cast because it got discarded. I will prep this spark, and he has 2, 3, 4, 5. So he has 5 buying power. And let's see here. I think I'll use 3 to get this gem here, because by doing that, well, it'll give him some buying power. I can discard this trap, and now there are 2 Peridots on top. So if this goes off, I won't reveal a trap over here because this is the least expensive gem. So that's good. So I spent 3. I've got 2 more that I can spend. And I think I will. I'll spend 1 to get this Glass-Eyed Oracle, which will allow me to discard this trap. And then I'll spend the other 1 to get this Oracle. Well, because this will also get destroyed when this unstable ground goes off. But if I buy this, it will reveal a trap when this goes off. So, but I really need it. I really need it to be able to get the most out of it. So I will go ahead and just buy this. So I got 2 the Glass-Eyed Oracles, and then I bought a Molten Peridot. So he should be good for a while. And then the next time you gain a card this turn, you may cast any player's prepped spell. I forgot to do that. I am going to do that. I'll go ahead and cast this Cleanse. So deal 3 damage. So he's going to deal it to the Burrower, dropping him from 80 to 77. And he does not have 3 or less life, so he doesn't get to heal. That's okay. And that'll be it for his turn. So we'll draw him back up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that'll empty his deck. And then the next turn will go to him. So I will go ahead and, yes, cast this Spark to do 1 damage to the Burrower, dropping him to 76. And let's see. I got the Shower of Coals, so we'll prep that. And then he has 4 crystals that he can buy. Or 4 crystals he can use to spend something with. And I think what I'll do is I'll spend 2 crystals to get 2 of these Glass-Eyed Oracles. So he's going to get this one, and then he'll discard the trap, and then he'll buy the other one. And so that will do it for those 2 crystals. And then I have 2 more crystals. And let's see. I'll just use that to buy, well, Yeah, I'll use this to buy a charge. And we do have one more over here. But if I buy this and this ends up getting destroyed, because it'll be the cheapest relic, there's a trap under that as well. So we got to keep that in mind. But that's going to be it for his turn. So we will draw him back to 5. Okay, so the turn order deck has been shuffled. We're in a new round. First card of the new round, the first player is going to be Cairna. I'm going to cast her Invigorate to allow me to return a spell in my discard pile of my hand, which is going to be this Cleanse. And then I'll go ahead and prep that right away to breach 2. Then she has 2, 3, 4. Okay, I think I'm going to spend that to get a Destiny Forger. And when I do, that's going to get rid of this trap. Okay, and then because I gained a card, I can cast any player's prep spell. Now, if I do that, she will suffer the 1 damage and gain the 2 Aether. Because he is in, I guess that's how that works, because he's in Ohat mode, and she's the one casting the spell. But I'm not sure I want her to take damage if she doesn't need to, so I actually don't think I will do that. So that's going to be it for her turn. We'll draw back up to 5. There's 1, and then 4 more. Okay, and then the next turn of this round goes to the Nemesis. We'll remove a power card, or a power token. The card will be a Shard Breaker, and it is persistent. Gravehold suffers 1 damage. Any player discards a card in hand. So Gravehold's going to be taking some damage until I can get rid of him, and hopefully I'll be able to. That's quite a bit of hit points, but we'll see what happens. And the next turn will be Cairna. All right, good. Well, let's go ahead and cast this Cleanse spell for 3 damage, which will hit it to him, dropping him from 7 to 4. And I don't have 3 less life, so I don't get to gain a life. I do have a Spark. I'll prep that. And my buying power is 2, 3, 4, 5. So I can get 5. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 1 to get this Glass-Eyed Oracle, because that way, I'll discard this. That way now, when this goes off, this gem here, the Molten Peridot, will get destroyed, but there's no trap underneath this top card. There's also no trap underneath this Destiny Forger, so I should be good when that goes off. And yes, the reason why I bought the Glass-Eyed Oracle just now is to keep a trap from going off. And that's part of the strategy, I guess, for the Burrower, is to buy the cards so that so those traps don't go off and you can discard the traps on your turn. But anyway, so I spent that crystal. I still have 4 more, and I'm going to get 2 charges with it because I want to start using her abilities. I'm actually pretty happy with what I have in my hand. So that's going to be it for her turn, and we'll draw her back to 5, and we will move to the next turn. It's going to be the Nemesis. So this will go off. All right, destroy the top card from the least expensive gem supply pile. That's the Molten Peridot. That'll get destroyed, but as you can see, there's nothing. There's just another one there, so nothing bad. And then destroy the top card from the least expensive relic supply. That's now the Destiny Forger. That gets destroyed, but we have a Destiny Forger there, so we're good. No bad effects. And however, this Shard Breaker, Gravehold suffers the damage down to 7. And then any player discards a card in hand. And I'll just have Ohat and Ulgimor do that. They'll discard their Spark. So now that was just the starter turn stuff. The card's going to be a Wandering Lasher. And we've seen this in the last game. When it comes in with 6, has the Wandering keyword, and it unleashes every time until we get rid of it. So now I got to get rid of that because we don't want him to start destroying stuff off the pile and revealing those trap cards. But you have to hit him to be able to really do damage. You got to spend Aether, so that's something to keep in mind. All right, the next turn is going to be Ohat and Ulgimor. Okay, so he will cast his spell, suffer a damage, and gain 2 Aether. So he'll go down to 8. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got a total of 6 Aether that I can spend. And I could charge them all the way up with that, but I'm not going to. I'm actually going to use that 6 to buy a memory break. And that'll discard this card. And then I have these, so that's all that I can spend. And I did gain a card so I could cast a spell from another player because I have a Petrified Phoenicium. I will do that. I'll cast Cairna's Spark for 1 and just hit this Lasher for 5. Oh, I could have used the 6 to kill this Wandering Lasher. You know what? I am going to do that. I'm going to take all that back. So he was at 6. I bought the Memory Break. I'm going to put that back. So I had 2 from the Shower of Coals, 4, 6. I'm going to use that 6 Aether to take out this Lasher so that he doesn't unleash every turn. So I won't get to cast the Spark over here, but that's okay. So these gems have all been taken care of, but I do still have my Glass-Eyed Oracle. And if you remember, destroy this and any number of copies of this card in hand, and you may gain a card that would cost up to 3 times the number of copies destroyed. So I'm going to destroy both of these. That's 2. Destroy 2 copies times 3 is 6. So I get a Memory Break anyway. And I gain it, so it goes in here. And that's going to be it for his turn. So I'll discard these other 2 cards and draw back up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think that was a pretty good turn. He got rid of a bad minion and still got a spell out of it, so that's pretty good. The last turn of the round will go to Ohat and Ulgimor. Okay, so I have a Spark. I'll prep that. I do have a Glass-Eyed Oracle. It can also be 1 Aether, which is probably what I'm going to use it for. I don't know. I guess I could destroy it and get a Fortified Frost, and I might do that. But actually, I think instead, I'm just going to use all this, get 4 Aether, and get him 2 charges, and just kind of leave everything like it is for now. So that's going to be it. Quick turn for him, and I'll draw him up to 5 and shuffle the turn order deck. All right, so the first turn of this new round will go to Cairna. So she'll cast her Spark and deal 1 damage to this Shard Breaker. Okay, so she does have a Spark and an Invigorate. So I'll prep those. And I have a Destiny Forger. I can destroy it to get 2 charges. But I'm not sure I want to do that. Let's see. He can destroy a card in hand and get up to 2 more than what's destroyed. Let's see. 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So I could actually destroy this Glass-Eyed Oracle and get another Peridot, which I don't think I want to do that. I don't know, I might do that. Or I could get a Fortified Frost, or she can get 2 charges and start using her ability some. But I think I will let him destroy a card in hand. It will be a Glass-Eyed Oracle. So he can get up to 2 more than the destroyed cards. So I can get something for 3. And I think I will get another Peridot here. And that will let me discard this trap. So now we have 2 Peridots here. If anything destroys this top one, we're still good on traps. All right, so that's her Destiny Forger. And then she has 2 crystals. I'm going to use those to get another gem or get another charge and hold on to that and use her charges for something else later on. To be able to use more of her abilities. So we'll draw back up 1, 2, 3. Flip her discard pile, grab 2 more cards. So we're at 5. She'll have a couple of crystals. So she has a spell and some buying power if she wants it. Good. All right, the next turn is going to be the Nemesis. So this Gravehold will suffer 1 damage, down to 26. And by the way, I just realized with the Destiny Forger, they can destroy the card and you place it in their hand, not the discard pile. So he gets to put the Molten Peridot in his hand here. Okay, so Gravehold took the damage from the Shard Breaker, and somebody's got to discard a card. And I'll just have Cairna do it, discard this crystal. All right, and the actual draw card will be Suffocating Haze, and this is one that, this is nasty. Reduced by 1, all damage dealt to minions from the Nemesis deck to a minimum of 1. So now I can only hit the Shard Breaker for 1 damage at a time as long as this is out, and there's nothing I can do to get rid of it. And it comes in with 3 power. So unleash twice, Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So he is going to start unleashing when that goes off. That's pretty nasty. All right, but that is what it is. next card is going to be, the next player is going to be Cairna. All right, well, I'm going to use her Spark. Well, I'm going to use her Invigorate to deal a damage to him, to drop him to 2. Her Spark to deal damage, drop him to 1. So now all I need is 1. That's not going to be so bad from the Suffocating Haze, but it will unleash twice at some point. All right, so we have Cleanse that'll come out, and she has 2, 3, 4 buying power. And I think what I'm going to do is spend the 4 to get 2 more charges, and then I'm not going to use it yet. I want to charge her all the way up so that I can get a memory break and then go ahead and prep it right away. So that's how I'm going to do that. So that's going to be it for her turn. We'll draw her up to 5. All right, so there we go. We got 5 cards, and she'll have a Spark and some crystals and a Molten Peridot. And then the next turn will be Ohat and Ulgimor. Okay, so we will cast his Spark to get rid of this Shard Breaker. So he's not going to be doing any more damage, and that's good. And then he has all buying power. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 6 that I can spend. I will spend it on a memory break. And I can't remember if I already got one of those for him or not. I think I did, but I'm getting him another one. So that is going to be it for his turn. And we will draw back up to 5. Okay, so we got 5 in his hand, and then the next turn we'll go to Ohat and Ulgimor again. Let's see what he's got. I never checked. Yep, I do have mostly spells. Okay, so I've got 3 spells, and I got 4 buying power. I'm going to spend 4. I'm going to spend 4 to focus his Breach 4 and put the memory break in it. And then I'm going to prep his Shower of Coals. And unfortunately, I have to hold on to the Spark because there's nothing I can do with it. So I'll do that. I'll discard these 2 gems and draw him back up to 5. So I'll get 4 cards to go in with his Spark. And that's going to be it. And then the last turn of the round will be the Nemesis. All right, so we will remove a power token. And his card's going to be, it is a marked for death. It is an attack. So unleash twice. All right, destroy the top card of any supply pile. If the supply has no cards in it, any player discards a card in hand. Well, we can do that. And I'm going to destroy, for the first unleash, this Molten Peridot. And then for the second one, actually anything I destroy, I'm afraid, is going to reveal a trap. So might as well just do it. I'll destroy a memory break, I guess, because I want to get another one for her. So now I'm going to have to reveal this, and it is, if this was revealed during the Nemesis turn, and it was, Gravehold suffers 5 damage. All right, so it's going to go from 26 down to 21. So Gravehold to 21. Then place this card in front of any player. For the rest of the game, when a Nemesis card specifies any player, the player with this card must resolve that effect if possible. When the player with this card becomes exhausted, discard it. So that's interesting. And I think Ohat and Ulgimor do still become exhausted. They don't do on-exhaust effects. The rules say they don't do on-exhaust effects. And when he's at 0, he can heal. But it doesn't say that he doesn't become exhausted. I think he still does when he gets to 0. So I'm going to put Marked for Death in front of him, and that's how I'm going to play it. And I hope that's right. Let me know if it's not. But again, even though he doesn't do on-exhaust effects, and even though he can heal from 0 back up in his special rules, I think he still is exhausted when he gets to 0, technically. So whenever he exhausts, I can get rid of this Marked for Death. But until then, anytime any player shows up, I've got to do that. All right, so I'm going to shuffle the turn order discard, or the turn order deck, and we'll go to the next round. Okay, so the first turn of the new round goes to Ohat Ulgimor. All right, a lot to do here. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll cast the memory break first. I have to, so that's going to be 3 damage. And then I can destroy a card and add the cost of that card's damage to the memory break. I'm going to destroy this Glass-Eyed Oracle. So it's going to do a total of 4 damage to the Burrower, dropping it from 76 down to 72. 4 damage to him. And then I'm going to cast the Shower of Coals. So it's going to suffer a damage, and then I get 2 Aether. So I have 2, 3, 4, 5 total Aether that I can spend. Oh, I'm going to prep the Spark onto Breach 1. I'm going to spend that, actually, so go ahead and generate all 5, but use 4 of it to focus his Breach 4, because I want to start being able to heal him once he gets low. So that's what we're going to do with his turn. We'll discard these crystals and draw back up to 5. And we'll move to the next turn. And it is Ohat and Ulgimor. So we will, let's see, do I want to cast that Spark? Yes, I do. I'll go ahead and cast the Spark. So that's going to be 1 damage to him, down to 71. Slowly but surely we're getting him. I'm going to prep that the other Spark he has in his hand to this Breach 1. Then I have a Memory Break, a Molten Peridot, and 2 crystals. That's 2, 3, 4 total Aether. And I'm going to use that to open his Breach 4 and prep the Memory Break to it. And now, from now on, I can get this last charge and start charging him up, casting spells from here, healing him whenever I need to heal him. So that's how that'll work. Okay. So we are going to draw back up to 5 with him. There's 2 here on this deck. I'll flip over, get the 3 more that I need. It's going to be a spell and some gems. Then the next turn in the round goes to the Nemesis. Okay, we'll remove a power token. And the card's going to be a Chitin Crawler. We've seen him before too, I think. He comes in with 9 health. And his special thing is reduce to 1 all damage dealt to this minion by spells that cost 3 or less. So that would be like the Sparks. They only do 1 damage anyway. All the other spells, though, have the cost of 4 or more, I think. So that's good. But his persistent is any player suffers 3 damage or unleash. Okay, so that's that. And then Cairna gets to go. Well, we're going to go ahead and use this cleanse to cast it and deal 3 damage to this crawler, 9 down to 6, because it was a cost of more than 3. And she doesn't have 3 or less life, so she doesn't get to heal. I'm going to prep that Spark that I have there. And then I have 2, 3, 4, 5 Aether that I can spend. I'm definitely going to spend 2 of it to get a charge. And then the other 3 I'm going to use to focus her Breach 3, so I can start getting that open and getting the +1 damage. And then I'm going to use her ability. And if you remember, with her ability, I have to spend 3 to be able to use it. And then I can spend 2 to get a spell from any pile. And then I can spend 1 to prep a spell that I've discarded. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend all 6 of her charges to get a Memory Break, because that lets me get any spell I want. Because I spent 3, then +2 to get any spell I wanted. And then the other one that I spent to prep this to an open Breach, which will be Breach 1. So we're good there. We have drawn back up to 5, and we'll go the next turn in the round, which is her. Okay, so I'm definitely gonna use the Memory Break, and I'm gonna cast it to deal 3, and then I'm going to destroy her Destiny Forger to add 4 to that. So that's going to be a total of 7 damage to get rid of this Chitin Crawler. So nobody's going to take any damage from him. And he's not going to unleash. So that's good news. Oh, wait. Reduced by 1. Oh, reduced by 1. All damage dealt to minions from the Nemesis deck to a minimum of 1. Okay, so I have been messing it up. So remember the Suffocating Haze, and I always forget about this, but reduced by 1, all damage dealt to minions from the Nemesis deck to a minimum of 1. So he came in with 9. I used a cleanse spell to do 3 damage. That actually should have only dropped him down to 7. And then I just did the Memory Break to deal 3 plus the Destiny Forger was 4, so that was 7 damage. But I actually reduced it to 6, so that'll drop him down to 1. Okay, and then but I do still have a Spark up there. So I'll just use that Spark and cast it to deal 1 damage to the Chitin Crawler. And I get rid of it anyway, so that's good. So no, I made a mistake, but it didn't hurt anything. I fixed it. We're still good. All right, so I've got 3 crystals and an invigorate. So I'm gonna spend these 3 crystals to open her breach 3 and then prep her invigorate to it. And that's gonna be it for her turn. So we'll draw her back up to 5 and move on to the next turn in the round, which is, I think, the nemesis. Yep, it is the nemesis. So this suffocating haze is finally gonna go away, but it unleashes twice first. So I can destroy the top card of any supply pile. Let's see. And it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Anything I do is going to hurt somebody. So I'll just destroy it from the Molten Peridot. Well, no. I'll destroy it from the Petrified Phoenicium. So I'm going to have to reveal and resolve this pit, or this trap. And it is, if this was revealed during the Nemesis turn, any player suffers 4 damage. And that means that Ohat and Ulgimor have to do it, because anytime any player takes something, they have to take it. So 4 damage will drop him down to 3. And then I gotta destroy the top card of any supply pile. I'm gonna do the other Petrified Phoenicium so that we don't have another trap going off. So we'll destroy that. And then Gravehold suffers 2 damage. All right, so it's down to 19. And then the card draw will be a Portal Maul. It comes in with 10. He's wandering, so basically Aether is what defeats him. Persistent. The player with the most expensive gem in hand discards that card and suffers 1 damage. Okay, and that does not say any player, so it could happen to Cairna. And by the way, Ohat and Ulgimor are now in Ulgimor mode because he's at 3 damage. And that's kind of good. One reason why I wanted to give him Mark for Death is now I can heal and his starter card does more damage. Okay, I'm going to shuffle up the turn order deck and we'll move to the next round. Okay, so the first turn of the new round goes to the Nemesis. So this Portal Maul, the player with the most expensive gem in hand discards that card and suffers 1 damage. Okay, so that's gonna, she has a 4-cost gem and he has a 4-cost gem. So I'm gonna have him discard the Petrified Phoenicium and he'll take the 1 damage. So he's down to 2. And then the card will be a Quicksand Lurker, still in tier 2, but another minion comes out, this time with 11. All right, a lot of hit points on these. Persistent, if there are no relics in the supply, Gravehold suffers 1 damage, otherwise destroy the top card of the most expensive relic supply pile. Okay, so I want to get him out of the way. That's going to reveal a trap if that Destiny Forger goes off. But that's his turn. The next turn will go to Ohat and Ulgimor. All right. Well, I have the memory break. I'm going to cast that for at least 3. And I could destroy my other memory break and get 9, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it. So I'm going to use it, and I want to hold on to my crystals. I'm just going to deal 3 damage, and I'll deal it all to the Quicksand Lurker. So it's going to go from 11 to 8. And then I will cast the Spark and hit the Lurker, so that's going to go down to 7. So he will heal 1 to 3 because I cast out the Ulgimor and Ohat thing. All right, I'm going to put the memory break up there, and then I'm going to spend 3, 4, 5, 8. I got 5 Aether. I'm going to spend all of that to hit this Portal Maul because he has Wandering, dropping him from 10 to 5, and try to get him out of the way the best I can. And that's going to do it for his turn. Okay, so the next turn is going to go to Cairna. All right, I'm going to have her cast her spell. I'm going to return a spell to my hand, but because I cast out a Breach 3, I do get to deal a damage. I'll just do it to the Quicksand Lurker. And I want to return the memory break to her hand. So I'm going to prep the memory break there. I'm going to prep her cleanse. And then I'm going to prep her spark. And I've got 2, 3, 4 buying power. I really need to, I probably ought to buy this lightning arrow so that I can start healing Gravehold, but also to help with the unleashing thing. And then I could cast his memory break. No, I think I'm going to spend the 4 Aether to deal 4 damage to this Portal Maul to drop it down to 1 so that I can get it out of the way because I don't want him to keep doing his effects. And that's going to be it for her turn. So we will draw her back to 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need 1 more card. We'll flip her discard pile and give her 1. And then we'll move to the next turn. And it will be Cairna. Good. So the first thing I'm going to do is cast her memory break. And it's going to be 3. It's actually going to be 4 damage. But I'm going to, so that I can get rid of the Quicksand Lurker, I'm going to destroy this Molten Peridot for another 3 for a total of 7 damage. And that will be enough to get rid of this minion here. And then I'm going to cast the Cleanse to deal 3 damage. And I'm going to deal that to the Burrower. So he's going to go from 71 to 68. And then the Spark I'll cast to get rid of this Portal Maul. Good. So I got the minions out of the way and was able to do a little bit of damage to the Burrower. So that's good. All I have for spells is a Spark. That'll go in her Breach 3. I have 3 crystals. I'm going to use those to get her a charge. And hopefully that'll be enough. I know I just got rid of a gem, but I want to start charging her up and using her ability some more. So we'll draw her back to 5 and move to the next turn of the round, which I think will be, it's either going to be Ohat or the Nemesis, and it is the Nemesis. Good. So I got everything out of the way when I needed to. Nothing here in the front. This is going to be Toxic Subterfuge. When a power token is removed from this, Gravehold suffers 2 damage. You got to remember that. And then spend 7 to get rid of it. It's a power 3. It will unleash. But I want to get rid of it so Gravehold doesn't keep taking damage. All right. So the last turn of the round is going to be Ohat and Ulgimor. So I have a memory break over there. And I'm going to use that. I'm going to cast it for 3 and destroy this Spark. So 3 damage to the Burrower down to 65, 68 to 65. He will heal 1 up to 4 because I cast it out of the Breach 4. And then I'm going to prep the Shower of Coal here. And I only have 3 crystals, so there's no reason to even try doing this. But I'm going to spend those 3 crystals, those 3 Aether, to get a charge. And then I'm going to use the ability to cast a prep spell, Ulgimor's 4 Breach, without discarding it. I'm going to go ahead and use that to cast the Shower of Coals. It's going to deal 3 damage. So, and you do that first. Cast the 3 damage, so drop it down to 62. And then once you do the spell, you do what's on the portal. That's what I understand. So it'll gain 1 life. And the reason why that matters is because I'll bring him up to 5 and flip him to Ohat. And so yeah, again, you from what I understand, you cast, do the whole spell first, and then you do what's in the Breach. So he's back to Ohat mode, and that's it. I'll discard his crystals and draw back up to 5. He has 3 cards. So I'll flip, give him 2 more, and then I'll shuffle the turn order deck and go to a new round. Okay, the first turn of the new round is going to go to Cairna. Let's see. I will go ahead and cast her Spark for 2 damage. So that's going to drop him down to 60. And then I will put Invigorate in the Breach 3. Then I have 2, 3, 4, 5 crystals that I can spend for Aether. I'm going to get 2 charges out of it so that, again, I can start using her ability because I want to do that. So that's going to do it for her turn. I'll draw back up to 5. So I got 2 there. 3, 4, 5. All right. And we'll move to a new turn. It's going to be Cairna. She'll cast, I'll deal 2 damage with her Invigorate. So down to 68. Or down to 58, I'm sorry. 60 to 58. And then I get a bunch of spells, so I don't have enough to pay this off. But I do have, like I said, a lot of spells. I'll put the Memory Break in a Breach 3. I'll prep the Cleanse. And then I'll prep the Spark. And I can get 2 Aether, or I can destroy the Glass-Eyed Oracle and get a card that costs 3. And maybe that's what I'll do. I think I will destroy the Glass-Eyed Oracle. And I gain a card that costs up to 3 times the number of copies destroyed. So destroy that so I can get a card with 3. That's going to be a Fortified Frost. And mainly I'm just doing that to discard this trap card. And if he unleashes, which he will when this goes off, I can destroy that and not get a trap. And so I'm left with 1 crystal. I think I'll hold on to that because I want to charge up some. So I'll just hold on to that and draw her back at 5. So I need 4 cards. And that's going to do it for her turn, for her round, because she went twice. The next one is going to be the nemesis. We'll remove a power token. And this card's going to be, we're still on tier 2, the Wandering Observer. So another wandering monster. And he has 11, he comes in with 11. And his persistent is that Gravehold suffers 2 damage. So we're going to want to get rid of him, and we're going to need Aether to do that and Aether to get rid of this power card. So it's going to be hard to do both. But this is probably the bigger thing right now, I would think. So the next turn is going to be the nemesis. All right, the power token goes off. Gravehold suffers 2 down to 17. I need to start getting those lightning arrows to start healing Gravehold. The card's going to be still in tier 2, but targeted disintegrate. So when a power token is removed from this, oh, I forgot. When a power token is removed from Toxic Subterfuge, Gravehold suffers 2, and I've removed 2 tokens, so that's 4. It's down to 13, 17 to 13. When a power token is removed from this, destroy the top card of the least expensive supply pile. And there's nothing I can do to get rid of it, so I got to remember that. And any player discards 2 prepped spells once that goes off. Okay, the next turn, it looks like Ohat will get 2 in a row. It is him. So I'm going to cast this Shower of Coals, suffer 1 damage down to 4, and get 2 Aether. So that's going to, the 4 will drop into Ulgimor. But then because I cast it out of Breach 4, he gains a life back to 5. So he'll flip back to Ohat. But I just still got the 2 Aether. I'm going to prep her, I'm going to prep his memory break. So I've got 2 from the Shower of Coals, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, so I have 8 Aether that I can spend, and I think I'm going to go ahead. I could hit him for 8 or get rid of this power card. And actually, I think the best thing to do is to hit him for 8. So I'm going to drop him from 11 down to 3. And I think that's all I can do. So I guess a pretty good turn. He really hit this Wandering Observer hard. And I got to get him out of the way so he doesn't keep taking damage. So Gravehold doesn't keep taking damage. So I'll draw this back up to 5. Starting to get a little nervous. I thought I was doing well, but now with Gravehold on at 13, and he still has 58 health left, it's going to be rough. But maybe I can pull it off. He does have 4 Aether here that he can generate, and it is going to be his turn. So let's see what I can do. He'll cast Memory Break for 3. And we'll deal that. I'm not going to destroy a card because I don't want to destroy my other memory break. Actually, I will destroy a spark. It won't add any extra damage, but it's going to drop 3 from 58 down to 55. And he'll gain a life up to 6. And then I will prep my other memory break. And then I've got 2, 3, 4 Aether. I'm going to spend all 4 of it. Actually, yeah, I'll just go ahead and spend all 4, and it's going to be enough to get rid of this Wandering Observer so he won't keep hitting Gravehold. And that's going to be it for his turn and for the round. I'll draw up and then shuffle the turn order deck. All right, the first turn of the new round is going to go to the nemesis. So we remove a token. So that means Gravehold suffers 2 damage, down to 11. And then he will unleash. So let's see. Okay, looks like I'm going to destroy this cleanse because there's a cleanse underneath it. It won't hurt too bad, so I'll destroy that. And oops, that goes in the discard pile. And then I'll remove a token. And when a power token is removed from this, destroy the top card of the least expensive supply pile. That is going to be Fortified Frost. And so good. I'm glad I took that Fortified Frost because there's not a trap underneath it. All right. And then the card will be Throttle. Unleash twice. Any player destroys their 3 most expensive cards in hand. That's going to have to be Ohat and Ulgimor because of this mark for death. But let's unleash twice first. All right, it doesn't really matter. Something's gonna go off. I'll destroy a lightning arrow. No, I don't want to do that. I'll destroy a cleanse, I guess. And so this is going to be Gravehold suffers 5 damage, dropping it from 11 to 6. Not cool. And then I got to unleash again. I'll just destroy this other cleanse. So getting close though. And then any player destroys their 3 most expensive cards in hand. So I have to destroy the Petrified Phoenicium. That's one. That's a 4. Then the rest are zeros. So that I'm going to destroy these 2 crystals. So that's actually going to help a little bit. And that's it. And we are in tier 3. I need to hurry. He's got 55 hit points left. And he's destroying cards. So, and Gravehold only has 6 health left. All right, the next turn is going to go to Cairna. So the first thing I'm going to do is cast my Memory Break for 4. And I'll destroy a Spark. But it's not dealing extra damage, but it will do 4, so that drops him down to 51. Then I'll cast the Cleanse for 3 more. And so then the Spark for 1, so 4 more damage, dropping her from 51 to 47. All right, that's not too bad. Then I have the 4 crystals. I definitely want to buy 2 charges. Or I want to buy 1 charge, because what I want to do is I'm going to use all 4 of those to be able to get a lightning arrow and then to prep it into my breach and discard that. And so we should be good on lightning arrow. I can destroy one from there if he unleashes. And then the other 2 crystals I had, because I had 2 more, I'm going to buy another charge. And that's going to do it for that turn. Draw her up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 5. Okay, next turn we'll go to Ohat and Ulgimor. He has a Memory Break, and I'll cast it to deal 3. And I guess I'll just destroy a crystal. So it's only going to deal 3, dropping him from 47 to 44. And then I'll prep his, by the way, he heals up to 7. I'll prep his Shower of Coals up here to breach 4. And that's going to be it for his turn, because he had to destroy those cards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll move to the next turn. Oh, put it in the wrong place. The next turn we'll go to the Nemesis. So when a power token is removed from this, destroy the top card of the least expensive supply pile. Okay. That is going to be the Fortified Frost. And so this time it will reveal a trap. And Gravehold suffers 5 damage. So Gravehold's down to 1, almost about to lose. It's getting tight. And then any player discards 2 prepped spells. It's going to have to be him, because he's got this marked for death. So he'll discard that. And if this thing unleashes, or if this thing does any damage to Gravehold, the game's over. It's an Apocalypse Ritual. Spend 8 to discard. Gravehold suffers 5 damage for each Nemesis turn order card in the turn order discard pile. So I gotta somehow generate 8 Aether if I don't want to lose to this Apocalypse Ritual in 2 turns. All right, getting nerve-wracking. But Cairna is next. She will deal 4 damage to him, dropping him from 44 to 40. And I definitely will discard a card. I'll discard Invigorate, so that I can heal Gravehold 1 and, you know, do the best I can, I guess. It's up to 2. And then, let's see, I've got 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, instead of discarding Invigorate, I'll discard a crystal. I'm going to prep the Invigorate. So now I have 4. And that will give me 2 charges. I'm not going to use them yet, because I want to be able to get another lightning arrow and prep it next turn, on her next turn. Just do whatever I can to start healing Gravehold. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then the last turn of the round will go to Ohat and Ulgimor. Nothing up there. But he will prep a memory break. And let's see, I've got 2, 4, 6 Aether that I can spend. I could get some charges. Or I could get him a lightning arrow himself. I think I will actually do that. I'm going to get a lightning arrow. And then when she gets one, she can get rid of this trap that's on it. So I got one left over, but that's okay. Okay, we'll discard and draw him back up to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and we'll shuffle the turn order deck and go to a new turn. Okay, well, let's start the first turn of the new round, and it goes to the nemesis. So remove a power token, and the card will be Darkening Depths. So to discard, destroy a prep spell that costs 3 or more and a breach in which it was prepped, but it's only a power 1, and if it goes off, it's unleashed. The player with the lowest life suffers 3 damage. Okay, so let's see who's next, and it is the nemesis. And that means Apocalypse Ritual is going to go off, and Gravehold suffers 5 damage. Doesn't matter what else. Well, for each Nemesis turn order card in the turn order discard pile, and there's 2 of them. So it's 10 damage. That's more than enough to destroy Gravehold. And that's the game. Well, I really thought I had a chance. I thought I was doing pretty good. I was over here buying the supplies so that I could keep the traps from going off. I did that early in the game, and some still went off, but that's kind of an interesting thing. You know, do you buy this stuff from the supply just to keep the traps from being able to resolve on his turn? And so you're buying them on your turn so you can discard them. Well, that's what I did, and I don't know if that was a smart idea or not, because that does clog up your deck some and slow it down a little bit. But I thought that was the right thing to do. I think really what I should have done was bought the lightning arrows earlier in the game instead of later, because player damage wasn't much of an issue. Ohat and Ulgimor, I mean, they finished with 7. They were healing. They were taking a lot of player damage. That really wasn't a problem. It was Gravehold that was a problem. So I probably should have gotten the lightning arrows earlier in the game to heal, to be able to heal Gravehold up as I cast those. So I guess if you play the Burrower and you play with these 2 mages, you know, let Ohat and Ulgimor take as much player damage as possible and buy these lightning arrows early so that you can heal Gravehold. I guess that's what to do, because I only got him down to 40 health, only halfway. But I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. That is the Burrower from the Return to Gravehold expansion. If you did enjoy it, please consider to like and subscribe, and make sure you hit the notification bell for any future videos that I have coming out. And until those videos come out, I'll save you a seat at the table.